Breaking news from Niger State, Nigeria. Imagine hundreds of people disappearing into a forest after armed men attack communities and worshippers during prayer. Families are left searching for answer. Communities are fleeing. And now, Nigeria President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has now ordered a country military, police and intelligence agency into an immediate coordinated rescue operation. But there is a critical question. How many people were actually abducted, and why has this remote part of Niger State become such a dangerous operating zone for armed groups? Tonight, we examine what is known, what remains unverified, and what the latest crisis means for the Nigeria security, economic, and wider fight against armed criminal groups. Welcome to Africa Global Opportunity TV, your source for verified breaking news, African politics, business, economics, security, infrastructure, technology, and energy international affairs. If this is your first time here, subscribe and turn on notification because this story is still developing. The crisis unfolded last week in Borgu local government area of Niger State in north-central Nigeria. Reports indicate that armed men attacked several communities, including areas around Dekara, Benya, Gidonzana, and Sabon Giza. One of the reported attacks occurred during Friday prayer as at mosque. Residents said armed men arrived and abducted worshippers and the other residents. The video subsequently circulated on Facebook and WhatsApp, appearing to show a large group of captives, including women, children, and older people. Some residents told Reuters that the video represented approximately 600 abducted people, but there is an important distinction. Reuters has not independently verified the figure of 600. The Associated Press also reported that local estimated concerning the mosque attack were considerably lower, at roughly 60 to 80 people, while Nigeria authorities had not publicly confirmed a final number of abductees. The abductions were accompanied by deadly violence. A Borgu district official told Reuters that 30 people were killed during the attack and buried on Sunday. Reuters, however, has not independently verified the death toll. The attack have therefore created two simultaneous emergencies: the urgent effort to locate and rescue those abducted, and the investigation into those killed and the armed groups responsible. No armed organization had publicly claimed responsible at the time of reporting. On Tuesday, August 25, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu responded with a direct order. He directed the Armed Forces of Nigeria, Nigeria Police Force, Departments of State Service, and other security and intelligence agencies to immediately coordinate efforts to rescue the victims. The president also ordered the service chief to provide him with a regular update until every abducted person is accounted for. Tinubu described the attackers as enemies of peace and humanity and said those responsible will not escape justice. He also assured affected families that the federal government will provide support for recovery, relief, and security reinforcement. The significance of this directive is not simply that more troops may be deployed. It is emphasized on condition, military capability, police intelligence, domestic intelligence gathering, and operational information sharing. The objective is to locate the captive while limiting the risk to their lives. But why does the particular area keep appearing in Nigeria security story? Part of the answer lies in geography. Borgu is a vast, rural, and characterized by difficult terrain, and nearly in the Kenji Lake National Park. Earlier this year, Niger State authorities acknowledged the security challenge around the park and said joint security force had been deployed to flush out armed groups operating around Borgu and neighboring communities. In January, the Niger State government announced plans to resettle people living in some hamlets around Kenji Lake, arguing that criminals were using the forest area as a base. Authorities said the measure was indeed to help security force clear the forest and deny criminals safe haven. This means the latest mass abduction did not emerge in a vacuum. It is a part of longer running security problem in the region. But there's another dimension to the story that goes beyond the immediate security operation. Because when hundreds of people are forced from their home, the consequences do not end when the guns disappear. They affect agriculture, market, transport, investment, food price, and untimely Nigeria economic growth. For Nigeria, insecurity is not only a military problem, it's an economic problem. The World Bank says insecurity, including banditry and kidnapping, remain a major challenge in Nigeria, particularly in northern region. The institution also note that infrastructure gaps and insecurity hinder domestic market integration and productivity. The consequences are particularly serious for agriculture. Agriculture employs roughly 1/3 of the Nigerian workforce, according to the World Bank analysis. But agricultural production continues to face constraints, including conflict and insecurity, expensive input, limited financing, and poor logistics. And that creates a dangerous circle. If farmers cannot safely reach their farm, production falls. If transporters cannot safely move goods, logistic costs rise. If communities abandon productive land, food supply becomes tighter. And when food supply becomes tighter, consumers can face higher price. The International Monetary Fund has similarly warned that insecurity takes a heavy toll on Nigeria's investment, agriculture, and oil production. The IMF estimates that poverty reached about 63% at the national poverty line, while around 27 million Nigerians faced food insecurity in the late 2025. This figure demonstrates why security policy cannot be separated from economic policy. For the family whose loved one remain missing, the most important question is simple. When will they come home? President Tinubu has ordered the security agency to find them. The operation is now underway. But until every victim accounted for, the story remains unfinished. And until communities like those in Borgu can live without fear, Nigeria's wider security challenge remains unresolved. This is African Global Opportunity TV, bringing you the facts behind Africa's biggest story beyond the headline. If you found this report valuable, like this video, subscribe to the channel, share with others, and tell us what you think in the comment section. And most importantly, which country are you watching from? Drop your country in the comment section. I'm Friday John Adada, and this is African Global Opportunity TV. Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay connected to Africa.